So this guy, just to summarize, this dude here that's on the screen now, he comes out, they ask them the question, and I guess the gimmick is they ask the question, whoever agrees with it, with the statement, comes and walks out, and whoever agrees sits there and talks for a second, and then the rest of the people come. So they asked if both sides have lost. So this guy comes out, he's an Israeli, and he says he feels like they've lost because all the people that got killed. He was there apparently on October 7th, like when the attack happened. So he was there, and like his friends got killed and stuff, and it was pretty traumatizing and all of that. So he tells this story like to this guy about what happened, but it's in the context of the question of, I feel like we've lost the war because of this.
17-year-old kids, they kill fishermen, fathers and sons. They come to the sea every day for the past 40 years.
Let me know if the audio is coming through too, if anyone's even here, just because I can't really tell, and it didn't ask me if I was sharing audio or not. So part of the reason this is a test run, guys.
And they slaughtered them all. And they slaughtered my friend, my dear friend Mo. And I don't know how many of you seeing, like we talked about the media, the news, and all of that. So when it all happened on October 7th, the Hamas really posted everything on Telegram, and I saw all the horrors. I can talk to you about every single video of it, and how they beheaded people, and how they raped our women, and burned babies in the ovens. For me, no matter what happens next, we lost this war. We lost our brothers. We lost our friends. No military act or nothing can bring them back. Actually, the main reason why I think we lost, alongside with that, is our hostages. 241 people was hostages. Some of them were released right now, women and children. But there are at least 170 people still in Gaza being held captives. No one speaks about it. People ripping out those posters every day. So when we see the world and we know that no one cares for them, for me, we lost.
Yeah.
And to give you some context, I think this is from like a month ago or so. So that's his reason why he feels Israel has lost, because all their, obviously the October 7th attacks, he was there. It was very traumatic, as you could tell. And I don't necessarily, I understand why he feels that way, because he went through a horrible experience. I disagree with him. I don't think Israel's lost the war. I think Israel's still fighting and they're going to win. And something one of the other guys says later, he says, as long as there's an Israeli state, they haven't lost. I don't know if I agree with that either, but I more would be toward that opinion of it. I think Israel's going to win. It's hard for me to imagine that they couldn't. It's hard to imagine what would happen for them to lose. I ultimately think Israel's going to go in there and will virtually wipe out Hamas and probably occupy the Gaza Strip for decades, I assume. And I'm guessing, I don't know if it'll be them or a coalition or something like that. They're going to have to try and re-educate the population and de-radicalize them and ultimately get them. It's going to be a long occupation, I imagine. I can't imagine how it wouldn't be. And then after a long period, a long, long time, then maybe they could start thinking about a two-state solution again. But, before they de-radicalize the population, I don't know how they're going to do that. And certainly before they, get rid of Hamas and get them out of power, that's obviously the first step here. But this guy's going to then explain, this is a Palestinian. He'll give his view on why he thinks Palestine's lost the war. And if I remember, it's pretty straightforward. It's Israel's more powerful and everything. And I think at least on this point, I probably agree with that guy more. I just don't see how you would view Israel as losing, other than I get this guy went through something traumatic. I understand that, but
I think when the question came to me, I was thinking of a win-lose, because there's never going to be a win, right? So even if we find the peace we all want and the freedom, I have a hard time calling it a win. That as you mentioned, so many innocent people have died, children, women, etc. So that's the main reason I came up here. You can't classify anything else but a loss, even if outcomes are better and things get better. We've all lost. It's tragedy, and it's so many innocent people died in the last 6 to 8 weeks. 2 million in Gaza have been displaced from their homes. 18,000 have died. 8,000 of them have been children. About 4,000 women. This is from the Euromed Health Monitor. And generally, these numbers that come from Gaza end up being verified by the UN. So it's sad. And also,
God,
as you mentioned, the innocent civilians.
Okay, the UN verified numbers. I don't know what he means by that. I don't know how anyone could verify the numbers at this point. Even if they had like total control, I don't believe that. And a lot of the times when they throw out the numbers and say they're verified by the UN, they'll still include like all of the Hamas members that have been killed in those numbers. So I don't know about that.
And children who are taken hostage on October 7th, and none of that is okay. So yeah, it's a loss.
Okay. So they're bringing everybody else in. All right, so you can see they bring everybody else in. These are the people that disagree to the statement that both sides have lost. Now, I want you to remember what this guy here in the middle said. He just gave his whole story about what happened to him that day. He said they were out there partying on the beach until like 6 a.m. and these attacks happened, and all of these hundreds of like terrorists came across the border and slaughtered a bunch of people and his friends and people he knew and all of that shit. He was giving like his personal story about what had happened. Now listen to the response from this guy over here. The question he asks him. It's unbelievable.
Do you think it's appropriate to be partying till 6 a.m, a few miles away from an open air prison?
What the hell kind of a question is that? Like, did you hear that man's story? And what he's like, well, do you think it was okay for you to be partying on a beach next to Gaza? That's what he means by an open air prison. What the hell kind of a question is that? After what he just, like, do you think it's appropriate to, I don't know, storm out of an open air prison and then slaughter and murder and rape a bunch of people? Like, how is that anything other than him trying to blame that dude and his friends and say, like, well, you guys shouldn't have been there in the first place? Like, how is that not the thing where people are like, oh, well, she got raped. She shouldn't have been dressed that way. Shouldn't have been dressed that way. Shouldn't have been wearing that dress. Shouldn't have been dressed like a slut. Nothing would have happened to you. Do you think it was appropriate for you to be partying there? Well, do you think it was appropriate for them to murder him? And I assume if you asked him that, he would say no. But like, what the hell is the point of asking that question? That's such a ridiculous question. My God.
Where people don't have water, except for clean water is not available to 95% of the inhabitants. Electricity is only available 11 hours of the day. Bombardments have been ensuing every 3 to 5 years nonstop.
Oh, just randomly. Just random bombardments have been ensuing every 3 to 5 years. Those weren't predicated by anything. Just bombardments. Okay. Like they just came in out of the clear blue sky and started bombing in there. Like not every single time that happened, it wasn't precipitated by a terrorist attack or rocket attacks or some shit like that. But continue, dude. Tell us about your water, your electricity.
Do you think it's appropriate for you to be partying a couple miles away from such a situation?
Yes,
Do you think it's
yeah,
fair?
yeah, of course it is, because it's not our fault.